guys, thanks for clicking on. In this episode, I'm going to show you how we make venison pepperoni sticks. We make boatloads of these during hunting season. I'm going to give you the steps, I'm going to give you the recipe, I'm going to give you how much pork we mix in to get a nice juicy pepperoni stick that tames that wild game flavor down a little bit, all throughout this video. So if you like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and let's make us some venison pepperoni sticks. Alright guys, so it's time to make some venison pepperonis. This is some venison that I have the ground pork mixed into already. If you've seen the how to make ground venison with pork or how to mix venison with pork video, which might be linked in here or in this playlist, that's what how we did this. So it's a 70-30 pork to venison blend. I use some pork loin or pork belly trim at 30%, which is going to give it kind of 15% fat at the end. So this guy here is a 3.5 kg batch, which is 7.7 pounds. There's 5.5 pounds of lean venison meat, no silver skin, no fat, no blood clots, no hair, and 2.2 pounds of that 50-50 pork trim, 50% lean, 50% fat, belly and loin trim. So that's what we have prepped here, ready to go. And there's more, like I said, on that in that how to grind venison burger video. But now we basically have it ground on a fine plate. We ended this stuff on a 3mm plate, which is 1/8 of an inch. And now all we got to do basically is blend in our spices, mix, and get protein extraction. If you guys wanted to, you could add your spices to your cubes, run it through your grinder, and then run it through your grinder again. I just find it gets really sticky and hard to clean up your grinder if you do it that way. You can do it that way though, you'll get the same result. It's fine. It might still require some mixing at the end to get protein extraction. So I'm going to add my spices into this. We're going to mix it, we're going to stuff it, and then we're going to smoke it, and then we're going to try a piece. So what we're adding in here is the same as my other pepperoni recipe. If you've seen that video, the recipe is the same. It is all done in grams per kilogram. So we use 15 grams of salt per kilogram of meat, 4 grams of black pepper, 1 gram of garlic powder, granulated garlic powder, not fresh powder, not garlic salt, granulated garlic powder, 2 grams of cayenne pepper per kilogram of meat. But if you want a spicy pepperoni, you would multiply that by 2. If you wanted that a super spicy pepperoni, you would multiply that by 4. So instead of 2 grams per kilogram, you would use 8 grams per kilogram, and it'd have a lot of kick. We use sugar, 2 grams per kilogram, onion powder, 1 gram per kilogram, anise seeds. I find anise seeds are a little better than the anise powder. They just taste a little better, add a more aroma to your sausage. 1/2 gram per kilogram. Paprika, 3 grams per kilogram. Cure number 1 at 3 grams per kilogram. Sodium erythorbate, which is a cure accelerator, which basically just makes the meat block a little bit more acidic so that you can smoke it the same day. You don't have to use it. You can let your meat block sit in the cooler overnight before you smoke and eat it. But we are going to smoke it the same day here, and then right after we get it stuffed, it's going to be going in the smokehouse, so we use it at 1/2 gram per kilogram. And then optional, venison meat has quite a bit of protein, so it's really sticky. It's quite easy to get protein extraction out of it. If you're making a pork sausage, I would maybe recommend binders a little bit more forwardly, but you don't really need it in this one, but you can use it. Binder it's some sort of protein, so you can use soy protein, you can use whey protein, deheated mustard protein, milk powder, works fine. That's the recipe. It's also listed down below. I have it mixed up here, ready to go. See, there's a little bit of garlic and stuff on the side, as well as water. I got water measured out at 10 grams per kilogram, so that's 10% of the meat block. Works really nice, preserves the moisture, helps distribute the spices. So we'll spread out our meat. I'll show you a little meat block here. There's that venison meat with a little bit of pork in it. It's going to make it nice and juicy. When it comes out of the smokehouse, it's going to tame that wild game flavor down and be a really beautiful product in the end. Okay, on go our spices. Sometimes in the comments I get, why don't you make a slurry, add water to your spices and then put them in? You can, it's no big deal. It's kind of 6 one way, 1/2 dozen the other. So I'll put about 1/2 the water on, mix until my meat block absorbs that water up real good. Then as the meat block starts to absorb up the spices and the water, I'll go ahead and add the other 1/2 of that. Cold water. This whole thing is cold, guys. The pork was pretty well frozen when I ran it through the grinder. So was the venison was a little bit thawed out, but it's right around that 0 degrees Celsius, as cold as you can. Okay, so we've been mixing around for a little while. It's time to give it a signature test. Does it stick to your hand? And it's good. That means we've got enough protein extraction. It's going to fill the sausage casing and have a nice snap when we're eating it. So next step is to get it loaded in the sausage stuffer, crank it into them casings. Today I'm going to be using 22mm collagen casings that are pre-dyed mahogany, so they have like this nice smoky tone looking on them already. And they're going to get even darker when we hit them with that hickory smoke. So into the stuffer we go. If you haven't seen how to stuff a sausage stuffer, you just take a big handful, throw it down into the column and beat it down and try and get all them air pockets out. The collagen casing's loaded onto the horn. You just pinch at the end of the horn to control the firmness, and off you go. Getting these sausage casings nice and full. There we go. Nice and full. So there's just a tiny bit of give in them, but not much, because we're going to cut these guys. And now I just repeat that process till I got this all stuffed. Okay, now all we do is prep them for the smokehouse. So I cut them to length and hang them over either side of my smoke sticks. My smoke sticks happen to be the perfect size for my smokehouse, but if you're doing this at home, you want to give it a little bit of space if you're heating elements at the bottom, or just a little bit of space so it hangs off the bottom. So I'll just go to the end and back, cut it down to the perfect length. So I got one piece I can hang up in the middle and it's loose on either end down here. And when they go into the smokehouse, they'll be sitting on these smoke sticks like so that there's 2 long sticks per pepperoni. So I'll get these cut and ready to go in the smokehouse. All right, the last addition to the smokehouse for this smoke cycle is the venison pepperonis. Pop them in there. And now the smoke steps. All right guys, so the smoke steps for these are all going to be roughly the same. The final step is the only thing that's going to change because you're cooking to an internal temperature on the final step. So the first step is going to be drying. I'm going to open up the dampers. You could have hung them at room temperature for an hour before you started hitting with smoke. But first step is dry. I do that at 150. Next step is smoke. I bump it up to 155, 160, and I hit them with hickory for an hour and a half. And then the final step is an internal cook. So it's the cook step. I bring the humidity up and we cook them till they hit 160. That's fully cooked. That kills E. coli and stuff like that. And then we're gonna give them an ice bath. Not the pepperonis, I like them a little bit drier, so we're gonna take them into the cooler, cool them down. But we're gonna start smoking these guys, and next time we check on them, they'll be fully cooked. I guess since I have 4 different shapes and sizes in here though, guys, they're going to come out at different stages. The pepperonis are going to come out first, obviously, because they're smaller diameter, then the smokies, then the garlic ring, then the hunter's salami. So, stay tuned for that. All right, the alarm's gone off on the venison pepperoni. Whew. There she is. I'm just going to give it a quick pull because that other stuff behind there still needs to cook. So it's going to go straight in the cooler, close that door, keep the heat on the rest of the venison products. All right guys, it's time to test out the family favorite pepperoni sticks. Everybody loves them. Good snack in the working man's lunch. Easy for kids' school bags. You're out hiking, camping. Pepperonis are a nice protein snack to keep you going. But look at these guys. We didn't cold water rinse them. I know in my other pepperoni video, I did cold water rinse them and you kind of got the same result. So we just popped these straight in the cooler. But look at this. Look at those. Just a nice wrinkle, not too much. You know, they're not going to be overly dried out. There you go. Look at those. Nice full, filled the casing really good. Little specks of anise seed and black pepper. Gonna be good. Let's have a bite. All right there, guys. Nicked myself off a little nub. Casing snaps, which is good. It means that like we didn't steam them. It didn't get so humid that you know, you kind of get that gelatin that sleeves off sometimes if you get it too humid in there. There's too much fat or water content. Casing snaps. Right after that, you're hit with the paprika, anise, cayenne, all those spices. They're just good. The pork in there, Keeps it juicy, it's not dry, it's not sucking up the saliva out of my mouth to make it edible. Nice and mild for venison. Not a real strong buck flavor at all. So, they're a great snack, guys. We make tons of them. I hope you make tons of them. I hope you make it at least once. If you're a hunter, give it a try. Let me know what you think of the recipe. Hopefully you get the process nailed down on your equipment at home. And if you like it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And good luck hunting. And enjoy the bounty of your labors as pepperoni sticks. They're just so good.